I want to actually arrange the values that are inside of this array in an ascending order. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to actually put in some lines of code here, and then I'll explain to you what's going on here. Okay, so as you can see here, these are the lines of code that are actually put it here, that I actually pasted here, as you can see. And in line 31, as you can see, I referred to the name of this arrays class. Okay, we have a predefined class in Java, arrays dot sort. So as you can see here, this is actually a class, a method. Okay, we called this method on this arrays class, arrays dot sort double values array. So this method is going to actually arrange the values that are inside of this double values array in an ascending order. Okay, and in line 32, I created an object from this string class. As you can see, I only declared this object here, okay, this variable, and then I created a for loop here. So inside the parentheses of this for loop, as you can see, first of all, I created a variable of type integer, index, and then I assigned the value 0 to this variable. And then here I actually created a condition which determines how many times this loop is going to be executed. So until the value of this index variable is less than the value of the length of this double values array, this loop is going to be executed. Okay, and here I specified that after each execution of this for loop, increment the value of this index variable by 1. Okay, so here, as you can see, inside of this for loop, I actually instantiated this variable old txt array double values assignment operator, and here I actually referred to the name of this text view here, this object txt array double values dot get text. I am getting the text of this text view dot to string, and here I am converting that text to actually a string value. Okay, and then here I actually assign that value to this old txt array double values. And then in line 35, again, I actually referred to the name of this txt array double values dot set text. I actually want to set some text to this text view, old txt array double values. Here I referred to the name of this variable so that the user can see the previous values. Okay, plus here I want to concatenate this value with this value here, double values array. Here I referred to the name of this array sub index. Okay, so for example, for the first time that this loop is going to be executed, the value of this index variable is 0. Okay, so double value sub index is this value. Okay, it's gonna actually give me this 6.3 here to me. Okay, and here again I actually put a plus operator here, and here I actually put a space here. Okay, between the values. So now let's actually run our project and see what happens. Okay, now as you can see, our application is running on this emulator here, and here as you can see, the values that are inside of this double values array here are now actually arranged in an ascending order. Okay, so you can see these values inside of this scroll view here. If I actually scroll to the left here, I can see the other values. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Let's actually go back inside this main activity.java file here again, and after this for loop here, after the ending curly brace of this for loop, let's actually put in some lines of code here. So now I want to actually paste in some lines of code here, and then I'll explain to you what's going on here. Okay, so as you can see here, these are the 2 lines of code here that I actually pasted here. First of all, in line 39, I actually created an array of integer numbers here, as you can see, and the name of my array is int numbers array. And then here I instantiated this array by using this new keyword int, and here I specified the size of my array, okay, the length of my array. And then in line 40, I actually again referred to the name of this arrays class dot fill. Here I want to actually assign some values to my array. Okay, arrays.fill. First of all, I referred to the name of this array here, int numbers array, comma, and here I specified the value that I want to actually assign to this array. Okay, so now let's actually create a method, okay, inside of this main activity class. Okay, so after the ending curly brace of this onCreate method, as you can see, let's actually create another method here. Okay, as you can see, this is my method here, and then the access modifier of my method is public. The return type of this method is void, so this method is going to actually return nothing. Okay, the name of this method is output the array to the screen, and this method is going to actually accept 2 arguments. Okay, so the first argument is actually of type integer array, as you can see here, and the name of this argument is array, and the second argument is actually of type text view, and the name of this argument is text view. Okay, so inside of this method, as you can see here in line 49, I actually created a string variable. I declared this string variable in line 50 here, and then I didn't instantiate this variable here, and here I created an enhanced for loop. Okay, so I want to actually iterate over the values that are inside of this array here, inside of this integer array. Okay, so I created an integer variable here, number, and it's gonna iterate over the values that are inside of this array here. We're gonna actually do something with that variable, with that specific variable. So here I specified that I actually referred to the name of this string variable here. So here I actually referred to the name of this text view here, argument dot get text dot to string. So here I am getting the text of this text view, and I am converting that value to a string value, and I assign that value to this old text view value here. Okay, and then in line 54 I referred to the name of this argument text view dot set text, and then I actually referred to the name of this variable old text view value plus number. Okay, this is the number, this is the value that is actually inside of this array. Okay, plus a space here. Okay, and now let's actually call this method here inside of this onCreate method, output the array to the screen. Okay, so as you can see, this method actually accepts 2 arguments. So the first argument is actually of type integer array, so we have an integer array here, int numbers array, comma, and the second argument is of type text view. So I can just type in txt, and here I can just refer to the name of this object, txt int numbers array. And now let's actually run our project and see what happens. Okay, now as you can see, our application is running on this emulator, and here as you can see it says this is an array of integer numbers, and we can see these values here. Okay, these number ones here. Okay, so here we specified that we want to actually fill this array, this int numbers array, with number 1 here. Okay, so as you can see, this array actually accepts 20 integer numbers. Okay, the size of this array is 20, and here as you can see, we can see these number ones here. Okay, inside of this array. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense, and let's actually go back inside this main activity.java file here, and now let's actually add some other codes here. Okay, inside of this onCreate method. So now I'm gonna actually paste in some lines of code here, and then I'll explain to you what's going on here. Okay, so as you can see here, these are the lines of code that I actually pasted here. Okay, so first of all, in line 45 I created an integer array called integer array 1. Okay, and here as you can see, I instantiated this array by assigning these values, as you can see inside of these curly braces, these values to this integer array 1 here. Okay, and here in line 46 I actually created another array here called integer array 1 copy. Okay, and then I actually instantiated this array by using this new keyword here, and here as you can see inside of the brackets here, I actually specified the length of this integer array copy here. So the length of this integer array copy here is the length of this integer array 1 here. Okay, the size of this integer array 1 here. Okay, and then in line 48 I actually created another line of code here